Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And let's dive right in. As luxury brands look to the next step of their evolution, pushing beyond the boundaries of their respective segments, a strategy that draws great appeal is lateral expansion. Luxury houses are venturing into hotel projects, often to spectacular results. What is driving these cross-category expansions, and how are brands making their mark on these segments when going toe-to-toe with established veterans? At the same time, hospitality brands are launching their own lifestyle products and transforming their properties into destinations that cater to all aspects of life and all types of lifestyles, as consumers demand holistic experiences, not just places to lay down their heads. In our panel, Reimagining Luxury Hospitality, where hotels and lifestyles meet, we will explore how hospitality brands are providing these unique solutions to their guests. I am delighted to have Enver Arslan, Area General Manager of Jawali Maldives, Deepak Ori, CEO and founder of luxury atelier Maison Happiness, and Dr. Naeem Madad, CEO and founder of Gates Hospitality, joining me for this discussion. Well, let's dive right in. We say this a lot, but it's especially true for the hospitality industry. The landscape is ever evolving. One of the biggest developments we're seeing is luxury brands expanding their footprint into hotels, cafes, restaurants, and more. What is driving this strategy, and what is the motivation for brands to make this lateral expansion into unknown territory? Deepak, Naeem, I think this would be a great place for you to begin.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to Robb Report, thanks Tuck. Very honored to be here, and especially with Dr. Naeem, Enver, and you. So the luxury brands getting into the hospitality landscape is part of a strategy. And I'll explain that part of strategy by giving the Singapore Airlines example. There are two ways to grow the brand. Either you go deep or you go broad. And if Singapore Airlines has to go deep, there's nowhere to fly within Singapore. So they have to go broad, that they go to the different locations and then they create the brand. And there's another company in Singapore, F&N. You start drinking milk in the morning, then you have their coffee, then in the evening you have their beer, and before going to the bed you drink their whiskey. So they're getting deeper. So what luxury brands are doing is they are getting broader before they're going to go deep. So that is their part of the strategy. Now, how that strategy is going to work in the future, it all depends on what kind of people they work with, how passionate they are, what is their price point, and what is the level of the integrity of the partners they work with.
I fully agree, and I think genuinely the industry, the way it's headed today, it's lifestyle driven. And I think that's the luxury component, lifestyle component. If you look at most of the tourism authorities today, are very heavily involved in leading these discussions, and the simple fact is that the industry hospitality generally contributes 8 to 12% towards the GDP, so it's a major contributor to any economy, and we see those changes being driven very hard. We've seen a lot of acquisitions of smaller brands, luxury brands, of hotels that have been acquired to the large organizations, fives. We're seeing a lot of shift in people's behavior, people's pattern, and a lot of it is driven towards me time, luxury time, the pampering component. And last but not least, I think what people are looking for is grounded experiences and genuine holiday experiences where they do switch off and have a time off.
With luxury brands moving into luxury hotel projects, what demographic shifts do you think will occur as they enter this space? How can they effectively cater to new customers?
I think we're seeing a lot of shift now, particularly if you take the luxury brands. It's talking about sleep, it's talking about food, it's talking about experiences. So it's no longer about providing a place to sleep. It's a lifestyle where people are spending quality time with their loved ones, exploring destinations, exploring food, exploring experiences, and really contributing towards circular economies. And I think this is a bigger shift that we're seeing today. It's making sure that the holiday destinations actually developing local flavors, local experiences, and making sure that we promote destinations, promote countries and economies.
think we'll probably move to you next, Enver, because I think from your perspective, and you see this very well from what you do at Joali, it's not just luxury houses that are expanding their reach. Consumers are demanding more of their hotels. It's not just a room with a view. Hotels are gateways to enhance lifestyles and introduce guests to new ways of living. One of the strongest developments in this is the growth of wellness-centric resorts. Wellness tourism is expected to reach 1.4 trillion by 2027. How are you redefining the guest experience to align with traveler expectations?
Of course. Hello, everyone. So as you highlighted, the community, belonging into a community is a very important thing. Also, when we invest our resorts, we really believe on building a property is not only enough. We look at the properties as hardwares, but as creating new experiences, what we really need to focus on is building the right software. And the harmony between the hardware and the software is really important. Getting the product shaped, it takes a lot. Otherwise, every billionaire could be a hotelier. However, the important part is to get the right vision statement from the beginning, and accordingly to get the right operational brief and the right designers, right architects to shape the foundation of the experience which is going to be further delivered. And when we build Joali's, at Joali's actually we focus on the well-being, and the statement we have is actually to meet the guests where they are. Not only briefly say well-being and we come and fix you, it's not that easy, but we meet you where you are. Not everybody's same expectations are different. Everybody has different need to improve, and maybe not, maybe just create the best environment for the travelers to enjoy their time. Otherwise, whatever they need, wherever they like us to meet them, we craft our experiences to make sure that we meet them at the right spot.
Can I jump in?
Yes, of course.
I'd love to add something to that. I think what's very essential, we heard this morning about artificial intelligence, and I'm often on stages, I'm always talking about AI rather than AI. I think AI for hospitality, it's a support, it's a functionality support system, whereas hospitality for us, it's about emotional intelligence. And I think that's the biggest difference that we make in the industry. Every one of us in the room, everyone that's on holidays, that's traveling, everyone's looking for that emotional recognition, emotional connection. And I think this is part of the hospitality richness and luxury that really, as an ambassador of the hospitality and tourism industry, I can't emphasize the importance of educating the next generation who will come and actually help us with the hospitality, and the major focus on emotional intelligence. Because let's face it, many people make many mistakes, but with the right attitude, with the right solutions in place, and with the right approach, everything can be resolved. And ultimately, it's all about that emotional engagement that we can give.
Do you have a comment, Duvac?
No, nothing.
Well, I think we'll go a little bit deeper into the wellness-centric aspect of Joali, because I'd like to know a little bit more about what wellness trends you're currently seeing, and how you adapt that, because these things change all the time.
Indeed, it evolves. As I said, not everybody has the same expectation, and you really have to be able to cater to the wide variety of demand. We partnered with the Oxford University, and we built our foundation around the 4 main pillars, skincare, beauty, microbiome, and the brain. Everybody can choose either one of those packages, and to build the holiday with this purpose to have an improvement on the lifestyle of those, whether you are really going deeply immersed into those experiences, or just briefly learning from the holiday and take it for the rest of your life. And at Joali also we provide the services, post-stay services. Once you come and stay at the hotel, you take the experiences you learn and you adapt to your lifestyle. We further support our guests, our clientele. When they go back to their home, they can actually further adapt the lifestyle, so they can actually live with it. And very recently, you earlier said actually educating the next generation. And the worldwide, at the wellness retreat resorts, mostly what you see is actually one common policy. No children allowed. And this is children are the future adults. I don't know if they have anywhere else to go, but I think they are all future adults. And if we don't educate the children on the well-being, if we ban them from the wellness destination, how we talk about the sustainability. So at Jolly right now, we started the retreat education, fun education system for the children, where they come with the parents. Obviously, parents still they have their own private time, but the children are fully taken care on an educational holiday where they can learn about the wellness, where they can later on become a wellness traveler, and actually even if they don't travel, it's a personal growth. But I think that's a key rule where the wellness hotels are making a big mistake.
Well, I think one of the things that we're hearing is that you have to have a strong core as a hotel, as a brand, which brings me to challenges that I think hotels, even luxury brands moving into hotels are facing. Naeem, Deepak, how do you preserve your brand identity and quality while competing with established players in the new field? What do these luxury brands have to bring to the table, and what are the pitfalls they should avoid?
I think it goes for every business. There are two things that is always taught in marketing and in business, and this is the two things that consumer always judge where they have to go. One is commitment, where 90% of the brands have huge commitments, but they hardly do good business. And the 10% is impact. And I'll just give an example. I don't know, I think all the audience are very quiet. Do you know how many apple as a fruit is produced in 1 year in the world? It is 96 million metric ton per year. But still, until now, only 3 apples have made an impact. Number 1, what Eve ate. Number 2, that fell on Newton. And number 3, created by late Steve Jobs. So an impact in any business is very important. Luxury brands, yes, they come with their customer base, but they also come with a huge risk of losing that customer base if they are not able to bring the product to the table. So most of the hotels, where hotels can go wrong, is most of the hotels, they go to the celebrity chefs. And I learned this in last 5 or 6 months when I got into the consulting business. So they go to the celebrity chefs and they think they have cracked the formula. That is only 30% of it. The most important thing for any brand at a luxury space is pricing. Because once you do your pricing, that is how you decide the product. And depending on the product, you hire people. So all these 3 things are very important. Now, irrespective of the fact, because hospitality is something which is a neutral slate, a luxury brand can come in, a normal leader can come in. They both have the chances to excel, depending on the passion of people, depending on the person. Now, Irwin was the first GM of Joali, now he's the area GM. He's passionate. He's created that product. He started when the brand was not well known, am I right? So it all depends on passion of people. So how you're able to select those passionate people and how you're able to relate that to the pricing of the product. Pricing is a very important thing and we always tend to overlook. So that would be my take. And the third thing is how you're able to create. So I'll just give 2 minutes. I'll just give one example. In Phuket, we are doing this House of Tin Baron, where we are opening the world's first Louis Rodrier crystal room. And we have someone celebrating that up from the sky, that is Singapore Airlines. They will be serving from 1st December crystal champagne in their first class. So how you are able to create that impact and how you are able to correlate that and give it to the consumer, because Phuket has the demand already. What they don't have is a supply. So what we are doing is we are bringing in the supply at the right price, the right product, and keeping the right people who are going to serve that product.
Yeah, look, I see it as brand purpose definition, because I think without any purpose definition, no business can be successful because you don't know where you're headed. So for me, it's all about purpose definition and making sure that at every step of the way, brands are often reminding themselves of their purpose, the where they're headed, and last but not least, making sure there is a very strong mechanism within that engine of the machine to remind individuals of what the purpose is and where it should be headed. Not forgetting, in the world of hospitality, in the world of resorts, hotels today, there are multiple parties involved. So you have a brand, you have a business owner, you have a consumer, and all of these individuals, entities, have an input towards the success of that brand. The onus heavily relies on the operator and the brand definition, making sure the DNA is very well spelt out, it's very well defined, and also practiced at every level. There's so much happening, there's a lot of noise in the marketplace, and we see a lot of brands trying to onboard new strategies, and which are well and good. Nonetheless, you can't be changing the way forward of your brand. You can evolve and develop, but you have to stay on track and make sure the purpose of whatever you have set out to be doing is at the heart of everything you do.
May I add on?
Absolutely.
I think purposeful growth is very important, as you said. When companies grow, the biggest challenge is not to be able to maintain the standard, to lose the core of the company. It's a very simple mechanism of setting the standards, setting the training, and setting the auditing quality assurance. And many big companies, unfortunately, fall in this pitfall, and they fail on the growth by maintaining the core. It sounds simple. It sounds like just 3 steps. It's not, of course, it's not. Funny enough, when you, at the beginning of the story, at the beginning of the journey, you build a company on the main course, and later on, as the people change, as the new people join the companies, and as the new suppliers provide new auditing systems and alternatives, your standards and your trainings don't match with your audits. And every time the people change, you have a little bit more gap from your original DNA. And that's one of the bigger risks, actually, to maintain the standard. Standard should be standard. It should be trained and audited on the same standard. This is one of the biggest challenges, I think.
Well, I think growth is really at the forefront of everyone's minds, right? Considering the clientele that you're serving in the luxury space, how do you balance growth and growing demand with exclusivity?
I think growth is essential to any business. Having the ability to read your consumer base and having the ability to stay ahead of the game is also equally as important. And I think this is where a lot of entities, organizations go wrong, because they try to do too much for too many markets. And I think, again, back to my purpose point, it's growth is well and good, but you need to make sure it's well defined, it's well decided based on the size and the capabilities of the organization, and making sure that we understand demographics and geographical locations as well. Because there's so many impacts in the hospitality and tourism, not forgetting that we are supported by tourism boards, we are supported by airlines, we are supported by political stability and instability as well. There's a lot of impacts that actually put a lot of pressure on the industry. So growth is necessary for any organization to sustain and develop and further grow, obviously. Nonetheless, it has to be well thought out and well planned in the right direction, aligned with the purpose, along with the DNA mechanics in place.
I think when people start growing, over a period of time, they lose the focus. And they lose the fundamental from where they had begun. So we are working with one organization, we meaning our company. Our company is based out of Bangkok and US also. So our US company is working with this organization which has more than 10,000 outlets in US. And if you look at our place, we are known for marketing, or we are known for doing the food and beverage concept. And we were hired to do the pricing. And over a period of time, this 10,000 outlets plus, they're listed on the stock exchange, start losing the share price. The thing that went wrong was they just lost where they came from, and the pricing has become a huge mistake for them. And we were hired to correct their pricing. And while correcting the pricing, we are making the product very simple. Because when you make the product simple, hiring becomes easy. Training people becomes easy. Not many of us understand. So we complicate the things. So real luxury in today's world, and which is very rare, is how simple you can be. And when you are simple, you are accessible by the consumer. Because at the end of the day, however good you are as good as your consumer when he walks in and says, wow, you are good.
The consumers are smart. Right?
Yeah.
They know.
So all this thing starts with the pricing. Pricing defines the product. Product defines what people you have. And if you simplify all that thing, it is very easy to hire people.
Diado?
Yeah? Sorry?
Trends and innovation, actually a subject that I really like and I at the same time I hate. Trends make it very boring for me. When somebody does something innovative at the beginning, it starts as an innovation and later on everybody follows and repeats the same thing. I'll give you an example. A brand of champagne or a makeup brand dresses up the beach club of a hotel, and then everybody else goes with the different brands and everybody has the beach with a different color, different brand. Yes, it's a trend, somebody did it, and everybody else repeated. This is also against maintaining the DNA of the original core of the concept. I think innovation is very important, but trend is a bit of risk if you cannot individualize.
One of the things that you mentioned, Naeem, earlier is emotional intelligence, right? Like customers, travelers are looking for connection. They're looking for meaningful experiences. How do you put that emotional check on a property? I think Enver would like to answer that. And I'd also like to ask you that too, Naeem.
Sure. Look, it's one of our priorities in my organization today. Emotional intelligence sits at the top, and we have two third-party organizations that actually come in and do training sessions across all layers of the organization. For the simple fact that, within Gates, we have 49 nationalities, and you can imagine the cultural differences, the impact on daily doings that we have, because people value certain things based on their cultures, based on their experiences, based on their travels and so forth. So we do have these third parties who come in and really talk about fundamentals when it comes to emotional intelligence, mental well-being, and what it means to be in a group of people that becomes your family or your new family in your workplace. So emotional intelligence is essential. And like I said, I think I'm trying to make sure that in any service exchange, any service experience, we keep the human capital very well educated, very well empowered, in order to make sure that we keep that engagement level at the forefront, at the core of everything that we do. Not forgetting, we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about traceability, we're talking about mental wellness. All of these things are fundamental today in our business, and any business as a matter of fact. And the onus is on us to be educating the workforce to make sure that we put this across in a way that's not superficial, it's not whitewashing, it's actually practiced at the core of the business.
There are hotels and there are hotels. Unfortunately, they are all called hotels. So let me explain this. There are many places many people build hotels to make money. It's simple. You sell coffee, you sell breakfast, you sell rooms, you make money at the end. And there are hoteliers who build hotels for the experiences, for the purpose. When it comes to become a hotelier, you really think truly what the guest needs. The ultimate goal in the end for a hotelier is to make the guest feel at home. Can you imagine? But for the most of the hotels, when you go, you are welcomed by your last name. My mother doesn't call me by my last name at home. I don't know if anybody does, but thinking truly about the reason and the real experience, what we are looking for to make people at home. And every step, every sequence has to be taught truly. Emotional intelligence is really crucial. There has to be a very fine line to avoid hotel employees to be a robot, but also not to be too lousy to cross the limits. Of course, we don't want everybody to be called by their first name. If you don't, at some point it goes beyond the control and it becomes disrespectful. But also you don't want the formalities where the people don't feel like anymore at their home. It needs a little bit of hotelier detail research and training is everything.
Thank you so much, Enver, Deepak, Naeem. That's unfortunately all the time we have for today, so we're going to have to wrap up here. Thank you so much for joining me in this discussion, and thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you.